Excuse me.
I believe this is going to be a work in progress, but we are live. We are watching the beginning of the Europa League campaign between the Arsenal and the Eintracht. Are they the Eintracht type of situation? But we've got B. We've got Mr. High on Oxy with us. How high on Oxy are you at the moment?
I'm pretty damn high. I'm not going to lie to you, my man. I feel no emotions or body pain.
You normally feel no emotions.
True.
Not body pain from the regular.
You what?
So we're watching the game here, and we're gonna take a few minutes to make sure everything's working correctly because we're trying a new distribution channel where we're on Twitch, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're on the BBC, we're huge, but we have no one watching because no one knows how to find us for this podcast. Ooh, Leno with his first big, or that's not Leno. That's why he saved it.
Hey, are we not? No one. Oh, great pass out of the back again. Hey, are we not living this or streaming this for people to see, or they just don't care about us?
No, we are on a number of different platforms, none of which were discussed in advance.
Kind of threw it all on there. So we should be on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube Live, which is.
Do you like my like an hour ago? Hey guys, how are we going to do this without people seeing our live stream?
Without seeing it when you see
Yeah, you were.
Ah!
Oh, we got a chance. Oh, he puts it over the goal. Torreira with a beautiful opportunity.
I'm a solid 5 seconds behind, so I can just go with like the secondary color commentary.
Yeah, you can back up when we'll celebrate and you study what actually happens.
It's actually perfect. I'll just do tactical analysis. Technique is almost there. The little lean back.
Oh my god, I look high as a kite.
Let's see if we can.
There's what? Dude, that background is high. Hello, David Barrett. How are you?
What's up, David? So we should be live in Twitch as well.
Oh, goodness.
Oh boy, my head is spinning right now with all this technology.
Oh my goodness!
Got some new people in here.
Want me to send some Oxy, Mike?
Yes, please. I could use some right now. I want to add to the opioid problem that is taking our nation by storm. First set piece for Arsenal, looking promising here. Look how straight of a line they're standing in. That's beautiful. I didn't know that they were that coordinated. Come on. Oh, you're supposed to head in the opposite direction.
Mike, that we're defending that.
Oh yeah, I feel like Joey Murphy now when he was at Millwall and saying the.
How are you
getting confused? You do know we're playing in well.
What is the?
Because I've been focused on 74 different platforms and making sure. Oh, Kevin Murphy is here. Is this the Murph that I know, Mr. Murph himself, the Murphster?
Oh, yeah,
the baby.
When people are on the actual tube, and then when they're on Periscope.
That's true. We can see where the comments are coming from. Again, we're trialing out some massive changes to how we send this podcast out. So we're noticing in real time some differences from what we're used to. So bear with us here, and just if you want to just mute us and watch the game, it'll be the same thing as not watching us at all.
If you are going to do that, you should definitely create a Twitch account first. And
that's true.
On Twitch, because as soon as we hit affiliation status, then we will be able to start taking any proceeds that are generated and donate them to Gooners versus Cancer.
That's true.
Hey, B, did you know the Avs are doing an outdoor game this year?
I did know that. That would be something that I would be very interested in.
Okay, so tickets go on sale Monday, and I'm going to pre-code. So if you want me to, I can try and order you an additional.
Is this relevant to the conversation because they're a team owned by Kroenke?
Yes, well, it's all under the KSE umbrella.
It's like we like to consider it KSE synergy.
because that's what we're for.
My eyes look
right.
glazed.
Getting back to the game a little bit. Andy's just going to do that every 5 seconds because he can and he's high. We do need a save right there, and there it comes. So let's talk about the lineup a little bit, since there really hasn't been a whole lot of action so far. Aubameyang starts.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, were you expecting to see that? Did you not want to see that? I mean, are you looking for basically just preserve all of our most important players for Sunday, or do you think that we can actually get significant minutes for good players, win this game, and still have them available for Sunday?
Well, I don't know who else we could have started in this match.
Tyrese, Johns, Jules.
Yeah, and if we get a comfortable lead, look, listen, Frankfurt are not a team that you can lay down against. And when I saw the lineup, I was pretty happy.
But you're literally laying down, though.
Yeah, I know. I was pretty happy with the mixture of both seniority, and I think this is the type of game you need to do that. Aubameyang will be fine. He'll get through it. If we go up 2-0, I bet he'll get subbed off pretty early.
You think Martinelli comes on?
Yeah, maybe Martinelli. But this isn't a match you can put Martinelli in up front by himself. I just don't think he's ready yet.
Well, and frankly, I mean, if I recall, he never really – that wasn't his preferred position.
Yeah, he's a natural left wing. So, I mean, we saw in the preseason him kind of playing both positions, and he's obviously like adept at playing that solo striker role. But when he's at his best, he's kind of running downhill, creating from the wing.
There's a penalty shout from Xhaka. That was not necessarily petulant or reckless, but
it's actually really well defended.
Fortunately, yeah, no, there was never a chance at a penalty there. That was well defended. But did your anus clench just a little bit when you see Xhaka running into the box in defense?
Anytime Xhaka is anywhere near contact in the box defensively, you got to be worried. And I feel like we've already seen a couple of times why it makes no sense to have Torreira playing so far up pitch and Xhaka playing at the base of a diamond again.
Now, I'm wondering if it's because Torreira has been carrying an injury and maybe we just don't want him in that, last-ditch type of have to, sprint and maybe –
You can't really overplan to that extent, I don't think. I mean, if you're going to have Torreira on the pitch, you have him where he's going to do the best job.
Also, if he's healthy enough to be playing, I would take a 75% Torreira at the base of a diamond over a fully fit Xhaka.
I'd take a 12% Andy, which is basically what we have today, over a fully fit Xhaka at the moment. I'm just saying.
And Chambers is playing right back.
Yeah,
because I think we got Mustafi and
playing inside.
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed to see, I guess, Holding's not as far along as everybody kind of anticipated him being recovery-wise, but this seemed like the perfect time to get him kind of back into the swing of things.
What do you think that there's maybe a concern that happened in the last 24 hours with him? Because to bring him to Germany
and leave a matchday squad
and not even be up for selection as a substitute is a bit curious. I mean, obviously there have to be some people that fall into that category, but why bring him?
Is he not on the bench?
He's not on the bench. No, he's not in the 18 at all. So he's not available for selection.
It could be just a matter of getting him back into the swing of things, but maybe it's just a day-by-day kind of situation. Do you feel it? Do you not feel it?
Yeah, I mean, he might have woken up this morning, and had a, little diarrhea or something like that. Speaking of which, I want to say hello to people in the chat. There are some people joining us so far. We aren't expecting a lot, but we're seeing some names in there. David Barrett joining us on YouTube. Cholo Fove, I believe, is watching on Periscope, as is North State Gooner, friend of ours from Chicago, who is asking if it's the Mark Goldbridge show. Suckle me. It's much better content than that twat can put up on his channel. Kevin Murphy, my boy from here in DC, proud papa, is joining us. I'm sure he has his child strapped to him in one of those. Oh! We got a chance here. And
nothing.
Yeah.
That was
promising turned into letting
Why?
7 of their guys get back behind the ball.
He did that at the weekend.
How much did that remind you of Willick not
Yes.
just playing that easy layoff ball to Aubameyang on the weekend?
It reminded me of a lot of that, actually.
That's also pretty uncharacteristic from Saka because he's usually looking for that overlapping run whenever it's there if he's not going one touch into a shot.
Oh, I don't want that.
Yo, can I just say the background on our thingamajigger looks tight?
It's hot. The only problem is when we go 3 wide like this, and I feel like this is kind of tactical here. When we go 3 wide like this, you can see the great comments from people like Roberto Ford.
What if we go like this?
But then you can't see the back. Well, if we do this is kind of the best situation because now you can't see Andy at all.
Perfect.
With FYI, I'm the moneymaker for this pod. My face today because it probably looks like I am high as a kite.
You can only tell it at moments. So tell us all about this because while we're dealing with some possession from Frankfurt. 2 months ago, we did a very famous, very entertaining penalty kick shootout, which I won, by the way. I don't know if you remember that, Andy.
I do.
And we did it for charity. We raised some money for Gooners versus Cancer. Shockingly, the overweight guy wearing regular trainers and not football or soccer cleats, no goalie gloves, no any of that stuff, won the shootout. And there was kind of an excuse, a little niggle. If you will, from Andy that he was blaming and whining about, but maybe it wasn't so made up. Maybe this was a real thing. Because what are you up to today?
Yeah, so yesterday, well, obviously, I'll tell the quick story. Back in April, I was playing in an outdoor match. It was raining. I slipped. I felt my knee go, and I thought, fuck, that really hurt. And then for the last 3 months, I've just been walking around in pain, including the shootout. Got an MRI. The surgeon's like, yeah, I can't see anything. Got all the other tests, PT, cortisone shots, still in tons of pain. They cut me open yesterday and found a pretty significant tear in my meniscus. And so I'm,
They cut me open yesterday and they found a tomahawk steak.
Yeah. So
completely unchewed. It was just full.
So yeah, I had a torn meniscus, and I'm on the mend.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that you made it out. Andy, most people don't know this, but
good through ball. Torreya's our highest player again on the pitch, and he's broken his ankle, so that's great.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, that looks like a fibula break, and here comes mid-table. Not good at all.
No. What were you going to say, Mike?
I have no idea because then I just saw one of my favorite players on the Arsenal crumple to the ground, rolling around and slamming the turf, which usually doesn't mean he's going to be okay in 2 minutes. Let's see the slow motion of what happened here. Ball,
it's good.
Perfect through ball, maybe a little too weighted. Nothing wrong with what Trapp did.
I got a little knock. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he did leave his feet to the point where his foot wasn't planted, so you wouldn't think that the impact on his if he was planted and he took that hit, that's a problem. But yeah,
interesting because it's his left leg that they're treating, and it looked like it was like all the time on the right. So you got to wonder if it was just on the second after the initial come down plant.
Yeah, the plant.
It's scary because it's like the full non-contact. You just have all your weight coming forward.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to be all right. I as usual, I overestimated the tragedy that's happened. Just a quick show note for my fellow hosts. We are on Twitter right now because of the Periscope feed. There's basically us live on Twitter embedded into a tweet, which is the first time for us, so that's pretty cool. You can see Andy's headboard, which I'll just leave it there. So yeah, we have just for anyone that joined us late, because again, I apologize. I tweeted out a link for the podcast, which ended up not being the link for the podcast. But now, of course, we're on Periscope, we are on Twitch, and we are also on YouTube. This is side netting, poorly finished.
It's actually good defending by Chambers just to push him wide, allow Martinez to get that angle cut off. He was probably maybe he could have been offside on that.
No, not at all. He was definitely onside. And who's that chasing behind him that didn't? Okay, we got Mustafi, who basically was out of the play.
Louise was behind him.
Chambers doing a good job of forcing him outside without fouling him. That's
Becca, thanks for the note yesterday. Only friend who sent me a get well note. Just kidding.
So we're trying out a few things. After this hopeful save here, B, tell us a little bit about Twitch, because you're a millennial, as I like to call. I hope you're not offended by that. I say that with admiration because
it's become such a pejorative term, but it's
I'm a millennial.
no, it's not pejorative. It basically means you're the person that knows how to do shit that we don't know how to do.
I'm not an old man.
I don't mean it in the like entitled lazy way, because you are neither of those things. But you know how people, a certain person who gets a lot of publicity over here likes to call people his whatever, his Hispanics, his whatever. You're our millennial. So don't everyone make fun of that. But because you understand Twitch better than I do, let our users know exactly how we're using Twitch and what that means for them.
Yeah, so I guess most people who are familiar with Twitch might know it more as a gaming streaming platform, but it actually is kind of amazing in that it provides a really nice way to have like live engagement to, one, for us, like a different demographic, but two, the real benefit of it is the difference between the way that monetization works. So I guess what makes it really great for us is that, like, currently if you're using YouTube Live, the general benefit from like a listener's perspective is that it's like easy. You just have that Google integration and you sign on in. But if you're willing to take the time, and it'll take literally like less than 3 minutes to sign up for a Twitch account and subscribe to us, if you actually have an Amazon Prime and you link that, you can use your one free subscription token, and it will essentially give the Gooners podcast $5 monthly at no cost to you, and that will help us, one, continue to provide this amazing content, but two, to kind of expand our Gooners versus Cancer fundraising provisions. So it's
that's the thing. There's obviously, if you watch or listen to a lot of podcasts, that we're not the same as just about any podcast for a couple of reasons. But one is some of them have gone to a Patreon model. Some very, very well deserved and warranted. Some of them kind of seems like a money grab for podcasts that aren't necessarily that popular, but. We don't want anybody to have to pay money to watch us, because let's face it, they won't. We're not out there to move to a subscription model. However, what Brandon's just described is a way that you can not pay, especially if you have Amazon Prime. From what I understand, if you're not already subscribed to a Twitch channel, you can subscribe to us through Amazon Prime, and it's free. And we'll send out information about how you do that. And it will generate funds for the podcast. And again, Andy and I have said this for months. B joined up with us with the exact same idea. I mean, the three of us are businessmen. We do all right in our day jobs. This isn't our day job. It's a hobby of ours. And so if we end up raising money and creating any kind of, sustainable money coming in through this podcast, it's going straight to Gooners versus Cancer. That is our goal. And so if you can, just wide, not a bad shot there from Aubameyang, not a good shot there from Aubameyang. But so anyway, put a bow on that. We're exploring new ways of making it more fun and more interactive to watch us. I believe we have a question about what's the Twitch link. B, what do people need to do to find us on Twitch? Is it just twitch.com/the Gooners Pod or
yeah, so if you just go to, I can actually tweet the link from the Gooners Pod account to the direct stream. But if you just go on to Twitch and are creating an account, just search the Gooners pod and bing, bang, boom. There it is.
A
Uh-oh.
nice save from Martinez.
Defensively on the right, we are getting absolutely hammered. Chambers is finding it difficult to keep up with the pace. It was a great save and good clearance.
Yeah, we've definitely, so far in the first 23 minutes, much like over the weekend, we have certainly got less chances. Aubameyang looking a little bit sprightly today. And they're going to get a goal kick out of that. Thunder Road has discovered you, Andy, and you're in big, big trouble.
Why?
Because you're a bigamist.
Why would I do?
Look at your goddamn screen.
Spelling your last name differently doesn't confuse us. We know you're his wife.
Look, Andy's punching above his weight as it is. Don't give him even more ego.
I would
think that he'd have two beautiful wives.
I was about to say I would happily marry Becca. Hashtag sorry, James.
Hashtag sorry, Chris.
I've also just tweeted the Twitch link via the Gooners pod Twitter. So
Sweet.
you can also follow that to the direct view.
Quick note to you two: are you able to post in the comments?
I'm not.
Because I'm actually not able to post in the comments.
You'd have to use the actual YouTube Live platform, since they're.
No, I mean in the StreamYard comments.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Have it, so I can post in the Twitch comments, and then it'll show.
Gotcha.
Frankfurt are all over us right now, guys.
Is it 31 shots to 7 yet?
That's damn close.
Yeah. Are you seeing anything in this one that is making you feel any better than you did in the first half of Watford? I mean, we were getting outplayed in that game. Obviously, we scored 2 goals. We have not done that yet. But, I mean, is this just the same thing all over again with different people on the pitch so far?
Well, I think when you get a combination of, essentially a different starting 11, and then you have some young kids in there, there's going to be some nerves to start the match. We're just defensively frail, per usual.
Yeah, I feel like we're soaking up a lot of the pressure, except, we've forced Martinez into a couple big saves already. This is the type of thing where it goes 1-0 in the next 10 minutes. You're not going to be surprised at all.
No.
It's also kind of disturbing that even though we are playing a lot of young players and nerves would be understandable, very few of them, aka none of them, are playing defensively unless you want to count Chambers.
So is Chambers or Mustafi right back right now? Thunder Roads. I believe he's actually not watching. He's utilizing our broadcast as a way of.
Seems like a terrible idea, but
it is a terrible idea, especially with you involved. But it would appear that Chambers is out wide. Would it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we now have 2 new viewers on Twitch.
Awesome.
All right. You got to start somewhere, You don't build the empire overnight. And quick note, since we have kind of a lull in the action, you got 1 day and 3 hours remaining in the Gooner auction, and it's picking up a little bit of steam. But we got literally prizes if you're over in England already, in the London area, and you're planning on having a tour of the stadium, going to Piebury Corner, going to a game, and you're going to buy tickets. People just go to the Gooner auction website because there's some stuff on there that's available that's cheaper than what you actually would just buy it for. Out of pocket. So, we've raised through the Gooner auction almost $1,800 just from the auction. A lot of that is based on 2 amazing club level tickets, but there are still some tour tickets, some other things that are on there, and it ends on Friday, which is tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So check that out. Halfway through the first half. Not the most impressive performance I've ever seen. This kind of has 0-0 written all over it, which is my way of jinxing the 0-0 and making somebody do something.
This delay is killing me right now.
Well, it's only like 5 seconds, isn't it?
It's enough time. Like 5 seconds is just enough time for full reactions from y'all, and then me having to wait like 2 seconds for it to catch up.
See, what did I say about millennials? They're so impatient. All right, we're gonna have a corner kick from Frankfurt. You seeing some communication along the back line there? A little high five or medium five from Mustafi and Louise. First time seeing them play together. I mean, it's better than them not communicating. They don't seem to be holding their hands up and absolving themselves of all blame, which is nice. Rudy's in the house from England. Keep up the good work, he says. Thank you very much, Rudy. I believe Rudy has been at some point watching us or tuned into us for a while. I believe, if I remember correctly, he's one of the people who learned about us from the Bergkamp Wonderland podcast, which is, of course, an excellent podcast.
Here we go. We're on the counterattack. Aubameyang with the ball.
Out wide left.
Oh, nice little silky move.
Saka joining him, but
in the middle.
Find some space. Oh, just over the – Willock with an opportunity.
You had a little
didn't really hit it right
action there, B.
So that just happened for me.
We didn't get you the upgraded version. It's some nice moves from Aubameyang. Ultimately, when it came to the pass in the middle, I don't think Willock was expecting it on.
Oh, close.
That was wide, not high. I thought that went over the bar.
Yeah, it looked like it went over.
Yeah, it took him a little bit by surprise because there was a player in the middle who ended up kind of letting it go through unintentionally or otherwise. But you like to see Willock getting into that position, though.
Yeah, I think it's a good run forward. He's really great at being that pivot man, but if he can add, shots on goal into his game, it'd be huge.
Look at the atmosphere there. I know we're trying, and some people are trying the Ashburton Army and so on. But I mean, just you look at Frankfurt, you look at Dortmund. Yesterday, Dortmund. Oh my God, the yellow wall against Barcelona. That was either yesterday or Tuesday. You just love to see that, and it's so far from being the case at the Emirates. It's just I don't know, but every time there's a German host for a Champions League game or Europa League game, it seems to be especially on the Europe games. It's just amazing to see Torreira get away with one there.
That's great defense from him, and I don't see why we should be kicking the ball out on a really, really good defensive play.
Fuck that guy. We don't have to kick the ball out.
No.
Interested to see what Saka. Now they've kicked the ball out.
Ooh. I think I may have figured out. Oh no, how to catch up to y'all. I'm going to add a monitor right now, so I'm going to dip out for 10 seconds, and I'll be back soon.
We'll miss you. Oh, I miss him. Andy, you miss him already?
I do.
Come back. Yeah, Rob Ford, who is certainly very, very much a supporter of Dortmund. Probably, I would definitely say it's his second favorite football team in the world, as I probably would say they are mine as well. But that Dortmund display with the confetti, and I mean, I've never seen anything like that. That was amazing.
I watched it.
Is all I can say.
It felt like it was just Jadon Sancho versus Barcelona. Oh, here we go.
Oh, and a nice through ball.
Save!
Jesus.
It's a great 1-2, and Smith Rowe had a breakaway.
How'd you like to see a broken duck in that instance?
Great play by Xhaka. Look
at Xhaka making the stop.
Yeah, it was good save by the keeper, but he shot it right at him. He should have went wide on that.
Well, he had the angle pretty well cut off, so I don't know if he had gone to either side of the keeper, it probably would have gone wide. But that's the first real good passage of play that we've seen so far. And it's over. Yeah, Matthew D'Souza has pointed out that that B has lied to us, saying that he was going to be gone for 10 seconds.
We have trust issues with him.
Yeah,
And,
he's on a tight leash at the moment.
This is strike 2, guys.
Dude is putting out like 18 amazing pieces of content on Twitter every single day, and we're talking about trust issues.
Strike 1 was when he left us, and strike 2 was him not being back in the time he told us.
Is that true, Rudy?
Hyperbolic.
See, I was unclear whether you could hear us or not, but
I can hear you.
Yes, Rudy says we've already conceded 12 shots, and I don't have the stat in front of me, but it seems right.
Someone in Away Day said it was 10 about 5 minutes ago, so 12 probably accurate.
Yeah, that is a little alarming in the first. I mean, so we're on pace essentially to give up more shots in this game than we did against Watford, which was more shots. Was the statistic that was more shots allowed than any football game in the history of the earth? Did I read that correct?
Yeah.
And that's not good. Becca, any dreams last night? If so, we'll invite you onto the live stream so you can talk about it. I'm sure she dreamt that Arsenal wins against Eintracht Frankfurt. Does that tackle of Xhaka make you angry, Andy?
It does.
Are your loins?
We must preserve his beautiful face.
Well, as long as he tackles him below the legs, then, or below the face, you should be all right. What do we have in other games? Or do we care?
Thunder Road saying Bukaku defense getting peppered.
Yeah, pretty much. They are coming hard at us so far from multiple directions. That's an adequate way of putting it.
They're essentially making sure they fill all the holes we're giving them.
Yeah, I mean, you only have 4 in defense, so you can't plug every hole. And unfortunately, Eintracht are just penetrating all of the holes that we have.
We have a counterattack here. Send him. There we go. Here we go. It's a little out wide.
Can he use his left? Of course he can. Oh, nicely defended, but we still have a run here. And we do no longer have a run. That's going to be a foul.
B, where are you at in this game now? Are you still behind us?
I'm about to be live, I believe. I'm at 35-34 on what's about to be the new stream.
You're behind us.
Oh, that's actually slower than my other one.
Yeah, we're at 50. We're hitting 36 now.
Yeah. See, when you've been together as long as, this is a little dangerous. Don't foul him, Mustafi. Well ushered out of the penalty box. First time I've noticed that Kolasinac is in the lineup today. That one slipped by me.
What are you guys at?
36-28.
All right, so now I'm like 3 seconds behind.
Anyway, I was gonna say when Andy and I are in such sync together. Oh, that was a close call. Now, how do you give up that kind of a header to like old-looking Arjen Robben named Dost? That we're just lucky there's no goal. Oh, nicely played by
because Callum Chambers defended David Luiz on that corner kick.
And Mustafi was diving for something that didn't exist.
Mike, what second are you on?
06.
Oh, yeah. See, we are in sync.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we're just compatible AF. Brandon, it'll take some time. 2-3 years from now when we do one of these live things, your game will be up with us, and you'll learn to close your curtains so that there's not so much backlight behind you. That's the Jason Davies approach to podcasting.
That was an angle switch thing. I can't close it, though. I should do that for sure.
It's a sunny day in Chicago, isn't it?
Here we go. Oh, Saka with a nice little move. Aubameyang threw on goal, and
it's deflected. And in. Woo! I will take that.
my goodness.
Is that Saka's first goal, and it comes in Europe?
That's Willock.
Oh, that's Willock. Jesus Christ. I've done it again.
I got the Willock jersey on.
That is Willock. Oh, my God. Let me just I'd like to apologize to the entire community.
That was a great play by Saka, though, to get that going. I'm pretty sure he nutmeg, dude. Lucky with the bounce off the crossbar.
I mean, look, I don't think we're going to – I think we're going to count that as a goal because it was headed goalwards. It just, it obviously wrong-footed the goalkeeper because of the deflection. But, yeah, that was – I'm going to say that was going in or it was going to be on a platter for Aubameyang. But that's the goal we needed. Still kind of against the run of play, but it's becoming less about against the run of play now. So 1-0 to the Arsenal. You love to see it. Has the goal happened in your house yet, Brandon?
I'm now at 38-54.
Muhammad, a new listener to us. Welcome, Muhammad. We are from America. However, we are not all American. Our show consists of a young, handsome, new technological wizard, an old, fat, balding, Jewish American guy who spent 2 years living in London, and then a guy who's high on OxyContin and was born in and spent his first 19 years in Hemel Hempstead, as I like to say. But now we have our own dual citizen in Andy. Matthew D'Souza thinks that's the goal that keeps Emery in a job. I'm not so sure that his job status is that tenuous, that it comes down to individual goals inside individual games.
No.
But
listen, they've given him so much money to invest, and you can't just, Allegri's not going to join us in September or any other manager.
What is this obsession with Allegri in the fan base right
now? I don't know because, and I've said it since day one, dude inherited probably the greatest defense in world football at Juventus, and he didn't build that. He inherited it, and they stayed with him forever. And let's be honest, yeah, he won a lot at Juventus, and he took him to the Champions League semifinals and finals a few times, but it's Italy,
I think that when you see and Mohammed, we'll get to your question in a second. When you see a guy with sideline presence and coaching big teams, whether it's who was the guy that everyone was talking about that that coached Bayern and Madrid before that. Why can't I can't remember his name right now? Carlo Ancelotti. You see guys like that, and Mourinho, it's the same thing. You just want the big name, experienced coach, but those aren't necessarily the ones that are going to be able to take an average team or a team that has some holes in it, like Arsenal, and make them champions. So it's a rush to judgment on that. That's why I was positive about Emery, because he kind of seemed like a little bit more of a grafter, a little bit more willing to get into the weeds and not just be a Phil Jackson type who, by all accounts, is an amazing coach, but never had to actually coach up players who weren't already superstars. Mustafi is down.
That was a rough clip.
Make of that what you will.
The issue with Emery is not the lineup selections or what have you. It's the consistency of mistakes that we keep seeing week in and week out, right? I mean, we know he's going to tinker with every lineup. That's fine. It's how do you get that back four who have relatively been the same back four in every game to stop making these silly and stupid mistakes?
Well, that end is he at some point starting to confuse and lose the dressing room, because
I wouldn't say that.
No, I don't think it's happening yet, but like we talked about in our last podcast with James Gunnerblog, you're almost starting to see some signs of that if you really want to look at it that way. What do you think about the readiness, whether it ends up being a forced change in the middle of the season or at the end of the season, to Freddie Ljungberg at this point?
I don't
Is he
see
ready?
that happening. I see like Patrick Vieira being a better option, only because Freddie hasn't had that manager title yet. He hasn't had that experience or exposure. Maybe as a caretaker, sure, but I think
Even given his closeness to so many of the players who are really now making their way on. I mean, like Joe Wilkes made the team. He finally made the team.
I think he's a great bridge. I don't think he'll be a great manager per se. I really think Vieira would likely take over that helm, and then I think we start seeing the Henri Bergkamp and all those guys coming back to join our squad.
Matthew, did you see who gave Rafa Benitez a shout?
Benitez is a decent shout. I wouldn't be mad at that.
I feel like the problem with a lot of the coaches people seem to be hitching their wagons to, looking at Ancelotti before and looking at specifically Allegri now, is like, have you watched the teams that they put out play football? It's ugly, grinded out, defensively oriented with like flashes of great football because they have the actual quality up top. But that's not what we want to play. And a lot of like the frustration that we see with Emery is that like we have these periods where we're playing this fluid kind of Wenger ball-esque football, but then we have these periods where it's just like absolute anarchy out there. And yes,
and honestly, we had that with Wenger too. I mean,
exactly. And like, but like, yeah, I guess, I mean, there's a lot of criticism that is completely warranted of Emery's kind of more confusing tactical decisions. And I think I would actually kind of push back against what you said a little bit regarding like people not being frustrated with his lineup decisions, because I personally, and I know a lot of people generally, have been very confused by like the consistency of the lineups he continually puts out when there seems to be better options, specifically in the midfield and just like the general setup. And you can look at that again with Torreira today playing as advanced as he is. But like Allegri is not the type of manager that people want unless they want to play super defensive football. And I don't think that's something like people talk about Arsenal way all the time. And I think that's something that's like a really important kind of cultural thing to preserve as part of the club, is like the way that we play football. And a manager like Allegri is not going to be the one that puts a product on the field people are actually excited to watch.
Now, yeah, and another good reflex save from Martinez, who has not put a foot wrong in this one so far.
But that begs the question: do we care how good or how pretty the football is if we win?
That's a big question. I mean,
because at the end of the day, if in May you're 4 points off the top of the league or 4 points ahead of the league and you're lifting a trophy, no one's going to give a shit if there was a dull 1-0 win against Aston Villa in September. It just, no one cares, right?
Let me answer that one, because I became an Arsenal supporter in 1988. You guys know the story. The football that year was not champagne football. It was not Wenger ball. It was effective. It was incredible to watch in person, and we won the league. 2 years later, we won the league again with fairly similar, although I wasn't there to see it anymore, but fairly similar type of play. I want to win. Do I want games to be boring when I win? I don't think you can find a game where you win boring in the first place. And so, I don't need this champagne. I don't need this tiki-taka. It's fun to watch. I like to watch it. But if we're going to lose games because we're trying to play it, that's fine. I know a lot of people who became Arsenal supporters in the late 90s, early 2000s, who became Arsenal supporters because of the way we played in that time frame, and who don't want to go back to some other type of reason, other type of play. And I get that, because it's counter to what made you fall in love with Arsenal in the first place. But I just disagree. You want to win. At the end of the day, you want, which is Andy's favorite phrase, you want to win the game. You play to win the game. And
I feel like that brings up like a really interesting kind of look at like the shift of what successful football teams are kind of like being constructed as, though, and like the tactics that they're actually employing. Because if you look at like the two teams that in the Premier League specifically that are leaps and bounds above everybody else, yes, they have great defensive players and great defensive structure, but like Klopp is not playing like a sit back, win 1-0 style of football. He's playing like the intense gegenpress, So like I feel like football is changing and becoming offensive in a way that kind of necessitates having a defense that has the quality to enable you to be as offensive as you want. But at the same time, like, you can't play the park the bus. I mean, like, look at what happened with United. Like, you can't play the park the bus Mourinho style anymore because football has changed. And looking at managers like the big names, I guess, like, people are bringing up Mourinho, people are bringing up Allegri pretty consistently, but like there's a reason that they have recently lost their jobs.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, I don't know if Allegri's job loss was
that's what that would be,
and just wanted to take a break, but yeah, I mean, that in order to play beautiful football and win constantly in a league as tough as the Premier League is now, you need to be a Man City type of team with the kind of players that you bring in and the type of money you spend. I mean, that's just, I mean, you can't do it with any kind of a reasonable budget. And honestly, we haven't seen them always play beautiful football and always win, although they probably come the closest to it. So, yeah, I mean, there have been games, the Leicester game a couple years ago, which I think was Mesut Ozil's last really powerful game he played, a game against Fulham where we scored a beautiful goal. There have been those games where it's just like, wow, that's like the Arsenal that I know and love. It's so much fun to watch this. But there have been a lot of games where you're like, why did we were attacking when we should have been defending. We were just trying too hard to play a particular type of game, and we end up losing because of it. Because of it, and that's why we're not in the Champions League this year.
Yeah, but even think about this year, like specifically looking at the Liverpool and the into Watford games. Like, we were playing that really deep, kind of narrow diamond, and like in the Liverpool game, you could see what we're doing from like a rational, like, logic perspective. But like inviting that much pressure is super. I mean, it's like bold in its own way, but you're playing really ugly, over the top, pingy football, and it's not constructive unless you have like the players that are used to playing that. And Aubameyang is like a skilled poacher, and Pepe is obviously like really scary going forward on the ball. But neither of them are like built to be playing in a system like that. And it gets back to the point of like, at what point do we have to start questioning what we're actually seeing on the pitch? Because like from a tactical standpoint, we're not playing the nice football either, and we're trying to set up defensively, and it's kind of a nightmare because there's very blatantly obvious holes in the way that we're setting up and the way that we're like actually trying to defend. So like, at what point is it like we kind of want the best of both worlds with Emery, and we saw him as like somebody who could hopefully bring that, but like now we're kind of spread so thin and getting neither.
Yeah, we're not the finished product at this point, so to expect to be is a little premature. Since we're in halftime now, 1-0 lead for the Arsenal, which is pleasant to say the least. We got some questions and some things I'd like to address in the chat room. Mohammed, about 10 minutes or so ago, who is a self-admitted Manchester United supporter, but we're not going to hold that against him because he's been very, very polite and
why?
And predictions for top four.
Here, and you're cool. You're all cool.
Yeah, man. It's football. Football is love.
Cool.
Just don't be a dick, and then we'll be fine. We're the ones who are dicks.
I just choked that simply because.
Whoa.
What the hell was that? Muhammad asked predictions for top four in the Premiership, and we addressed this at the beginning of the season, but let's see if anything's been updated. Andy, I'm gonna go to you first because.
I had City winning, Liverpool second. I forget who was third and fourth. Liverpool looked strong, and barring any injuries to Sané, or I
love how you keep calling him Sané. You think Sané plays for Liverpool? He plays for Manchester City.
Mike.
You can't say Sané when you're meaning Mane and then expect me not to comment on it.
So
not all Anes look alike, despite the fact that I seem to have a problem with that same choice.
I would say that I still think the race is for third. Tottenham do not look great. Chelsea are going to win, but they're going to struggle. I still think it's going to be City, Liverpool, us, and then I'll probably think Tottenham or United.
Well, that was going out on a limb. All right, B, what do you think?
I feel like the only thing that's really changed, I mean, it's obviously going to be that battle for third, fourth, and I am, I guess, like a little more worried about Chelsea than I anticipated being. It'll be interesting to see how that Mount injury comes to actually like weigh in on the next couple of weeks, because for some reason it seems that Pulisic is not going to be a part of their starting lineup or really be played at all in the near future. For I don't know why, but yeah, I guess like they look a lot.
Wasn't ready for that move yet. That's why.
Because he wasn't ready for that move.
No, he certainly wasn't ready. When they made that move, I'm like, it's 2 years too early, and it's the wrong club.
Yeah, I feel like it is like
weird to come to like. Honestly, he should have gone to like Everton or someplace else, and that wouldn't have been kind of the glory move from Dortmund, which is already one of the world's top clubs. But from just an overall standpoint, it just felt like too much too soon. We've seen that over and over again in the Premier League. Scott Sinclair move, he just was way further. We've just seen it over and over again, and I fear for his career. I like him; he's a great young American player, but I haven't been watching Chelsea much, so he's not really getting on the pitch.
I mean, post international break, my girlfriend is unfortunately a Chelsea fan, which is brutal.
That's strike three, Andy.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I guess it's been a little weird because post international break, he like came back, I guess, to like train, and it wasn't really kind of clear whether he was leaving because of an injury, like if he picked up a little knock, or he was just like coming back to kind of get more minutes, like with the club or with the squad, training wise. But he didn't play on the weekend. And then everybody kind of anticipated that being like a kind of a move with the intentionality of having him start in the Champions League on Tuesday. And then he didn't play at all then either. So I don't know what's going on with that. I feel like I totally understand where you're coming from in terms of like such a big jump, I guess, into a club that comes with like a lot of pressure with Chelsea. But I also think like if you're going to make that move, that's kind of the perfect time to be doing it, because like they do have with the transfer ban a lot less pressure than they would otherwise.
Well, perfect time for Chelsea to make that move, but exactly. I don't know him. I mean, he was essentially brought in as a replacement for Eden Hazard, which
that's ridiculous. I feel like that narrative is like completely.
Well, it may not be true or not, but I mean, that's essentially there was one big in and one big out at Chelsea, so that and they both play similar positions, I suppose. So, so top four for you?
Top four. So I guess at the beginning of the year, I thought City kind of looked like they were just going to continue on from where they left off last year, but they seem to have a few more holes. I mean, I guess and like the recent injury to Stones kind of changes things again, and the way that Liverpool is looking is kind of terrifying. So I think that 1-2 is switched for me. I now see Liverpool as realistically being.
And that Napoli performance yesterday doesn't change anything for you?
The what?
The Napoli performance. They
always seem to. I don't know what it is about like their first couple of away days in Europe, but like last year they looked absolutely terrible there too.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case.
I'm not really. I don't know what if it's like a tactical thing, if it's a mentality thing, which is kind of interesting, but. I'm not necessarily like worried about that as being indicative of like a deeper issue.
There may be an internal focus. Yeah, there may be an internal focus,
league, but yeah,
Klopp to say that we're European champions. Let's focus on getting that Premier League trophy that we haven't never gotten. And so I think maybe their heads are stuck more in on Saturdays and Sundays than it is on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at this point.
Yeah.
So you're going Liverpool.
I'm going City. Liverpool, City, and then the optimist in me wants to put us third, but I don't know. I feel like that battle for third and fourth is going to be so intense between us and Spurs. Spurs do not look good, but like getting Son back really has changed like the dynamic of their squad, it seems like. And I don't know. I think that if we see, I feel like this Villa game is going to end up being weirdly kind of telling for us moving forward. But ideally, if we do see some changes being made, I think once we get Tierney back, once we get Bellerin back, and we actually have like the ability to play a real 4-2-3-1, that's not going to be ruling people out there that are just going to be putting us in jeopardy from the jump. I think that we can make that push for third. So I'll still put us third and fourth, but I definitely feel a little bit more trepidatious about making that definitive claim than I did before.
Yeah, I think I'll go Liverpool, City, Spurs, us. I just think Chelsea and Man U are going to suffer this year. Follow-up question to that from Matthew D'Souza. Do you think that the transfer market in January will be a key factor in the top 4 race? Do you see any of those top 6 teams spending more than others and keeping them in touch of a top 4 finish?
No. I mean, City are probably the only team in January who'd splash enough cash to make another team turn head, but
otherwise it's really more based on maybe injuries.
Yeah.
Between now and then.
Yeah, I don't see us doing it. Obviously, Chelsea can't. Tottenham probably don't have the money. I just, I think they're the only ones. Maybe United because they're a little bit aggressive with their spending, but
yeah, and that's another reason to really kind of de-emphasize Chelsea's opportunities at top 4 is because if they do have the injury or two, there's really nothing they can do about it. They've been pretty lucky so far with injuries and with some good performances from some of their younger players that maybe wouldn't have gotten a chance otherwise. Tammy Abraham has been outstanding this season. And you would maybe not have even seen him this season due to the presumed transfer that they would have brought in instead of him over the summer had they been able to.
Can we just talk about how ridiculous the general narrative has been around them playing their youngsters like they haven't been like lone FC for the last 10 years too? Like the British media praising how much they're playing their young core is just absolutely ridiculous considering like it kind of functioned as the antithesis of that for
they name a player that's come through the Chelsea academy and became a star for Chelsea. I'm not talking about I was about to say Lampard, but Lampard he came from West Ham. So I mean there aren't a ton. Especially in the last 10 years or so, most of them there've been plenty that have come through Chelsea Academy and have been stars elsewhere. Eddie Nketiah for one. I mean, there's a lot of people that have come through, but Lukaku's a good example. They don't get their shot at Chelsea because they keep buying new players to play over top of them. And then there's the lone FC element of it, which has pretty much been their way of getting around short-term cost controls, which existed in the past 4 or 5 years. So I think Chelsea could be a little bit in trouble this year. But frankly, I thought they were last year as well, and it didn't quite turn out that way. Let's see what else we have here in the chat room. Social 101 saying you need a proven Premiership manager. My vote would be for Eddie Howe. Not so long ago, you were calling for that, were you not, Andy?
Yeah, but that's the English in me. I want a young English manager. It's tough. I think Bournemouth have done a lot to stay up these years without the money, and it's got to be down to him and his team. And so he'll be given the opportunity at a big club, and I think that, he could really succeed if he had the right players. He's got a good attacking style. They seem like they're pretty decent at the back as well defensively, so I don't see why you wouldn't want to give someone like him a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's almost a shoo-in for the next England manager if things go belly up for Southgate in the next couple of years.
They're not, right? I mean, Southgate's young, doing well.
Let's say they go to the Euros and they lose, they get knocked out in the group stage of the Euros. Next day, Eddie Howe's announced as England manager.
I think that Southgate's done enough the last 3 or 4 years to cement past Euros, Well,
I think he should get sacked just for continually picking Spurs on the team. But going back to our conversation about the style versus substance, I don't care what it looks like if we get 3 points. Ultimately, I agree with that. It's going to take me a long period of time of watching absolute dreck and winning for me to say, okay, I'm bored of this. But but winning right now would be a pleasant change from So I don't need to see winning combined with beautiful football if you have to choose between the two.
Yeah. So
Matthew D'Souza is thinking I'm a glory hunter in 1988. I moved there as a 15-year-old because my father was opening up, my stepfather was opening up a company there. So it was not a voluntary thing where I said, oh, this team just won the league, I'm going to be their supporter. So there's a little bit of background for that ass.
So
It was not even.
I'm not calling you an ass. I'm saying like 4
B,
the game has started.
B, what's your count right now on the TV?
My count on the TV is 45-27.
Oh, you are 14 seconds behind now.
How?
Mike, what are you at?
47, 48, 49.
Oh, damn it, Mike. We are like two lovers staring into each other's eyes.
Just a little bit less penetration.
No penetration.
No.
For those who are new joining us for the second half, I think we should give a background as to why I'm laying in bed. That's not typically how we do the pod. It was Mike's brilliant idea to have me on camera less than 24 hours after a surgical operation.
Was it really? So what dosage of medication are you currently on? What dosage of wide open header again from Dost?
I am on 5 milligrams of oxycodone and some like super aggressive Tylenol as well.
Super aggressive, the SAT.
And
aggressive Tylenol.
I'm gonna take this in about 20 minutes, live on air.
He's gonna take drugs live on air. You will not see that in many other podcasts.
He didn't tell me not to snort it, so that's how I've been.
He didn't tell you to snort it, but he didn't tell you not to snort it.
Yeah, they didn't say specifically to do it. They also said don't do it. So
nice.
What time is it right now? Yeah, this is now like synced with my old stream, which makes 0 sense to me. So
19, 20, 21.
So I'd be interested to see how we start off this first 15 minutes of play here. We've already let Frankfurt get a free header on a goal that went wide, but coming out of the locker room seems to be a point of contention for a lot of us with, hey, why are we not focused? What conversations are happening in there? They got another breakaway on goal.
Yo.
Good defending by, is that Mustafi?
Wow, did Mustafi go to ground and
ground and does not he was not seeking contact either.
No, that was actually really good defensive play by Mustafi.
Yeah.
I also am now at 48.04, so I think I might be.
Oh, you're like a second ahead of us now.
I agree with you, Rob. I should be filmed from that now.
All right, I'm kicking you out of the chat now.
Oh, how the turntables turn.
Yeah, so
Louise got megged on that too. That's the standstill meg. Yikes.
Wait, how did B get in front of us?
He found a time machine.
I reset my BR connection and closed some stuff that was taking up bandwidth for myself. So now I'm out here.
What's your
Welcome
second?
to the chat, Archie. Good to see you again.
What?
What's your count?
46.
Okay, you're in sync with us.
It's a half a second. Now we're just giving up opportunities left and right here. This is starting to look like the second half of the Watford game.
Literally feels like the beginning. I just at what point do we start feeling like it's just like a mentality thing?
Last Sunday.
But how is this? I mean,
I thought you were going to say, at what point do we just put all 11 players on the goal line to try to lower the chances of giving up a goal? Because I'm ready to do that now. I'm already basically going in my pants over this because we look so poor. 16 shot attempts to 7 so far to Frankfurt. Not quite as bad as last week, but this is Frankfurt. And Frankfurt is Frankfurt last year.
This is the Frankfurt, that no longer has Haller.
Oh. No longer has
Jovic or whatever his name was.
Luka Jovic.
He's been having a rough time at Real.
I think everyone's having a rough time at Real Madrid. Madrid.
Oh no.
Madrid.
He first that. There we go.
Kolasinac is.
Joe wants to make me so happy.
Come on, Joe. I know that's you, Joe.
Oh,
I want a through ball.
great
That's so
defense.
good, though. I mean, that's
Well defended, but those are some signs right there. Willock needs to be on the pitch in Premier League games. He's done nothing to convince me that he doesn't.
the only mistake that I feel like that he made this entire year that was glaring was like that
Last week.
just not playing that through ball on the weekend. But otherwise, like he looks so confident. I just think back to the Bayern game in the preseason where he just was like bossing everybody. Like it was actually, and he's not. It looks like he put on like 15 pounds of just muscle. He looks way bigger.
It's because I told him he needed to step it up in order to make the team.
There's a great defensive play. Aubameyang looks like he's a little bit hurt, which would not be great.
I feel like at what point does he come out? Like, do we start thinking about like regardless of what the score is, especially if we're up 1-0? But
Aubameyang,
yeah,
60th minute, I would say. I mean, I don't think I mean, even a draw on the road in this game would be okay. And so I think we need to really kind of focus on possession and not giving up 27 more opportunities in the second half. So if that involves a substitution where Aubameyang comes off so that he can play 75 to 80 minutes on Sunday, I'd do it. We'll send our shout out thoughts and prayers to Danny the GFP who's having kidney pains.
Oh no.
Otherwise he would be here. We need you back, Danny.
Are these serious kidney pains or?
I don't know. I don't think kidney pain is generally serious. Kidney disease is serious. Good save from Emmy.
I feel like Emmy is so underrated.
I do love Danny's text me this morning of me in surgery. Are you now a lady?
Yes, I mean, let's be honest. You said that there was like a gash in your knee. I don't think it was your knee.
I think the people need to see that photos of the tear.
Oh yeah. Well,
what was all that cotton-looking stuff next to it? Was that inside your leg?
Meniscus.
that's the meniscus.
That's what it's torn.
I
didn't vomit for no reason then.
I sent that to Howland, and he was like, "Yeah, that gap shouldn't be there."
Is that your doctor lawyer friend?
Yeah.
Our attorney from the first season who resolved the great Rhodes-Feinberg Premier League prediction dispute of 2017.
It's funny that he went back and read all of the pods to tally up.
Oh no. Just another giveaway in the midfield that's just so
Frankfurt with an absolute jailbreak. Shot it right at Emmy Martinez. Thank you for that.
Got lucky. Kostic was a little selfish there.
Is this the same This is the same Martinez. He used to go by Damien, did he not? Is this the goalie in that 7-5 game against the League Cup game against Reading? It was 4-0 after about 25 minutes or so. Was Martinez, but I feel like he went by Damian Martinez, and I want to say that like
his name is Emiliano.
So who is Damian Martinez then, and why am I just completely making that?
I mean, Emmy kind of sounds like Damien if you say it really quick, and can't hear very well. But
no, Damian Emiliano Martinez B. Is the same guy, just like
interesting. I genuinely didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, he's been. My point of bringing that up is that he's been with Arsenal for quite some time. That was 2013.
Yeah, I mean he's had a couple of pretty rough loan spells. Last year was great. I mean, speaking of Reading,
Lewis is in the house. I'm sure he's not wearing a shirt either.
Thanks for joining us, Lewis. He and I were just texting. I told him to come over and join us.
Yeah, Lewis is wearing a shirt less than 50% of the time. and pulls it off. I'm wearing a shirt 117% of the time because there are divorce lawyers ready if I take my shirt off at any point during the marriage. We don't want that. Corner kick. Is that a corner kick or I can't see?
free
Oh, it's
kick.
just a free kick from the sideline. Okay.
Oh, that brings it back.
I'm sitting about 30 feet from my television. That's why I'm having a little bit of a struggle here. But is this the point where David Luiz breaks his duck with one of those Sideshow Bob headers? I'm calling it if it is. And we're going to replay this, and it's going to go viral.
Oh, crossbar.
Oh, off the post, direct from the free kick. And that is
We got that TAA goal a couple weeks ago where it's like an accident, but if it goes in, it's amazing.
all right. Arsenal looking a little more sprightly, should we say? They're asking some questions of the defense. They're doing well in this passage of play.
So I'm looking at that lineup from that Reading game in 2012. There's only 2 current players still on the squad. We named one. He's in goal. Can you name the second?
It's got to be.
It was 2012.
Yeah.
No, was it? It was in the fall. It was in the.
He was in high school then.
I went to.
I literally was in high school. Yeah,
fetus.
Penalty ref.
that.
Oh, they call that on us. Oh, I remember so many people from that game. I remember Chamak was playing in that game. Frimmy was playing
Played in that game. Frimpong, Arshavin, Johan Giroux is our captain.
Oh my God! That you just thought. Let's just end the podcast with that because that tells us everything we need to know. Threw ball way too much weight on that. Who's with us now that was still there? I'm just trying to think of who our longest term player is at this point.
Players are Ozil and Bellerin.
Bellerin.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. So it was like basically.
Was Bellerin on the pitch for that game?
No, he was an unused substitute.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
No, that you would have got it right away if he was on the pitch.
That was like pretty soon after he came over too, right? It was 2011.
Yeah, Saka's looked great today, Lewis.
Saka's looked good, and people who I called Saka have also looked very good. Lewis, I did one of those things where I thought Saka was.
You got Saka.
I thought Willock was Saka, and I opened my big fat mouth, and now I'm being accused. Oh, this is an aggressive substitution.
That's interesting.
You know, I don't have a problem with that. I think Pepe needs a bit of a changed atmosphere to maybe try to nick one and open his account. And doing it on the road in a game that we're already winning,
that's like another thing. The fan base has been all over, or like some parts of the more vitriolic aspects of the fan base are starting to seem to want to turn on him, and it's like people forget how hard it is, especially as attackers, to make the transition to the Premier League.
Thierry Henry took 8 games.
Players ever, Thierry and Bergkamp, and that was 7 and 9 games respectively, right?
Yeah, but we're in the need me now era. So, but yeah, I mean Pepe will come good for sure. But our next game being a home game against Aston Villa, if he doesn't score there,
got to lean back when it's not our lean back.
Frankfurt so far has gotten a little bit of the early game Watfords where they cannot even come close to shooting it on target, and when they do, it's going directly.
That was like that whole crazy, 10-minute period early in the second half too, where they were just blowing shots all over the place.
Pepe coming in for Emile Smith-Rowe, probably a reasonable substitution there. Not a tremendous outing for ESR as far as I'm concerned. What do you think?
I think he was a little quiet. I mean, it's tough in the way that we're set up right now. He's done really well a couple of times, kind of like linking up when he's cutting inside with Willock. You can kind of see that they've got that kind of organic and inherent relationship playing with one another. But it's tough. I mean, when we're, especially in the first half, where it's just like all hands on deck defensively, it feels like for most of the half, it's pretty hard for us to get involved.
Lewis, that's disgusting. I can't believe you would suggest such a thing. I will not do that. Sorry. Sorry,
What?
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Lewis made a very yeah. I'll put it back up on the screen. I just think that's it's a diabolical thing to suggest that someone do. He did ask a good question, which is who starts in goal on Sunday, Leno or Martinez? I mean, it's Leno. I mean, they're not going to switch that up, Lewis. You know that.
Why are people so angry with Leno too? I don't like. Is it the playing out of the back thing? Because
That's not his fault.
a tactical instruction from Emery. Also, sorry, my dog's starting to get whiny. If you can hear her.
That yeah, the playing. Oh, good first.
I still think we go with Leno. I think he's done enough to prove that he's our number one. But we also have to keep in mind that it's not Leno's fault that he's taking so many damn shots. I mean, there's 10 players in front of him, 4 in particular, 5 in particular, that should be just helping him there. And so
he's pulled us out so many times this year. Like there's
what has Leno done wrong
to literally save points for us on at least 3 occasions this year.
What has he done wrong beyond that goal against Tottenham?
What
has he done wrong besides that goal, the Christian Eriksen goal? That again.
I think people were upset about like the insistency on playing specifically like second half versus Watford with the Socrates ball, and then also a couple of times where we were playing Guendouzi like through the middle out of the box.
That's an instruction, though, right?
That's an instruction. You can't get mad at him for doing what he's.
That's what he's being told to do, and he's reading the passage of play. It's not his fault that Guendouzi wasn't aware of his surroundings and wasn't ready to receive that pass. I mean, listen, as Lewis just said, he's not mad at Leno. He's just Martinez hasn't made any mistakes, but we still got a lot of time left in this game. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It's nice that we have a good backup.
It does feel good to have like the confidence in. He was great during the preseason and had a couple of like ridiculous long balls that led to either chances. One of them led to a goal as a second assist, and it's nice to have to be able to go into games without that check worry where we know that we're going to insist on playing out of the back, but to have a keeper secondarily who's actually capable of doing so.
Klasenet across, right?
All in.
Yeah. That wasn't really to anybody. There's not going to be a change in goal until there is a true reason to have a change in goal, and it's more than likely not going to be after a Thursday night game. So,
how is that a yellow? I thought he was about to give the yellow for diving. I need the replay.
Oh, that looked like a dive.
He left the leg out. He gave the ref the opportunity to call that. He didn't have to do that.
The little leg out.
Come on, Joe. Thought you were going to make the team.
Joe is the team today right now.
That's true.
Mike's on with like a microphone and the professional setup.
It's so professional.
Might have to invest in a little microphone.
Hey, to Lewis's point with Martinez, pushing Leno, that's how it should be, right? Every position should be in question when the manager is putting his lineup together.
Yeah, but I think you also need to have a level of confidence that you are the man. I mean, as a keeper, you want to know that you're not so that you can take it for granted and not feel pressure from behind you. But I mean, there's got to be some sort of clarity as to who the number one is. And if it needs to change, then it changes. But I mean, there's no reason that Leno should be in fear for not getting.
No, he won't be. Leno's number one, and it would take a lot to push him from that. But it's great to have a number two who's keeping him on his toes.
Yeah, and a lot of people were calling for to buy a number two from outside because we lost Ospina, because because Czech retired, and the reality is we had one here all along, and I don't see any problem with. I'd have no problem with him filling in for few weeks, few months if God forbid something happened to Leno, or if Leno just wanted to spend time with that fiance of his.
Yeah. Yeah, and as Rudy wrote, it's our midfield that invites the pressure on defense and puts pressure on our goalies naturally, and that's so right. And as Lewis said, he agrees not having a proper defensive midfielder is a huge issue. But we had one, number 11. I just don't know why he's not being utilized in that specific spot. And that's the frustrating thing about Emery is why are you not capitalizing on how good he is in that position? You know,
it's confounding to me and that's
strange. Like we all know that Xhaka has a hole in his game defensively playing in that, and it's just it highlights it every time.
65 minutes in. Offside on Frankfurt, thank goodness, because they had numbers.
He's left us again.
He's left us again, and I need him to come back because I gotta take a 15-second break, if you know what I'm saying.
You can leave me live, Mike. I'm not a child, okay?
But I need you to be baby. In case you get lonely, I just since we're perfectly synced up. All right, so Andy will now entertain you for the next 15 seconds.
Substitution. We have 2 people watching, but there's way more people in the chat room.
Yeah, don't look at those numbers. We have at least 3.
Technology's lying to us.
Technology is lying to us. Do you know what's not lying, though? In 10 minutes, I'm going to snort that oxy.
Don't say that on stream. We're going to get kicked off Twitch after one stream on Twitch. You going silent, Andy?
No. Not much going on in this game.
Just feeling contemplative. That's a ridiculous touch from Saka.
Oh,
he's
that's
so
beautiful.
casually good. Woo! Gotta square that.
Yeah. But that's just we're not being decisive in those areas, and that's where we need to be cutting that ball back, noticing that there's a run lagging with Pepe. And look at that. From our misplaced shot, we basically allow them a corner kick.
How far up the field was Chambers there too? I mean, that's like watching Kolasinac play generally just at left back. Like even on that play, you see where Tierney's going to be so beneficial for us because like he's making that overlapping run there.
Yeah.
And then you have Bellerin, who's like way more natural playing right back, who 1 has the pace to recover if he's really far forward, but 2 has the spatial awareness and like positional awareness to actually be able to be there. Yikes.
Frankfurt with some good movement to play out wide, put them all right across the danger spot.
Quick time check. Where are you guys?
I'm at 56, 57.
I'm basically right. I'm like half second ahead of you.
No, I think I'm 10 seconds ahead of you guys now.
How?
I don't know. I'm at 68, 16, 17.
Seriously?
Yeah. So now I got to keep my mouth shut.
He's not going to be. He is the absolute worst.
Well, didn't do it on purpose, but it looked like I'd fallen 15 seconds behind you, so I decided to go ahead, and I've just left him back again.
A full refresh?
He'll go, oh, never mind, guys, and then it goes.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
You can see my head.
He knows me so well. Now I'm on the Atletico Madrid Juventus replay for some reason because I pressed the wrong button. Press the wrong button.
Oh. The worst part of this is not being able to do anything except for lie down.
Oh, I think that would be great. That's like how I conduct my life.
After a while, it just hurts your back.
That's super real. I had to this is nice because it was like relatively exploratory, right? Did they do any?
Yeah, it was all exploratory until he found the tear.
What did they do? Did they just like?
It was torn in an area where they just had to like shave it. And,
okay.
There was no like reattachment needed.
Yeah, because the meniscus is so tough because it's just like so fragile too. So like any reattachment just is asking for secondary injury.
Yeah, and I think there's only 2 areas they can really reattach the meniscus. So they just cleaned it up, and
Becca's giving us some advice on what to do when you're in bed. Did you get an anchor or a stitch? That's a user question from Becca.
I have no idea.
Also, this one, my off-topic question would, do you watch NHL? If so, go fucking Caps. That is absolutely correct.
Go, Abs, go.
No, the Caps, baby. That's my team, season ticket holder, Stanley Cup champion of yesteryear. Can't really claim it anymore, but and then we also have another off-topic. This is the off-topic section. Does your family honor the Sabbath? Why would you think I'm Jewish? Oh, because I mentioned it. Do we honor it? Depends on what the word honor defines.
Ooh.
How about to honor a goal if we could have just scored it? I'm at 46, 47, 48 now. Are
Mike,
we back?
do you only eat kosher salt?
No. I eat every salt possible. I actually bottle my sweat and then I burn off the liquid so that I can eat that.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's like recycling salt. It's really good.
Looks like we're going to be making a substitution here.
Thunder Road. I generally we don't do too much on Friday nights and Saturday mornings, but the high holidays which are coming up, we absolutely we do. So I guess we're kind of like part-time Jews. But yeah, Caps, go Caps, go. Wanted to ask the people who are here in chat. There's a handful of you. Let us know and within reason. I mean, we're not talking about active Arsenal players, and we're working on some special stuff as far as guests and shows are concerned. But let me know if there's an Arsenal-related guest that you'd like to see join us for a weekly podcast, because we're always looking for more suggestions. We got people who return for visits. We have new people who break their ducks with us all the time. But if there's someone that you would like to see on the podcast, we certainly will make an effort to have them on. But so feel free, participate, and let us know.
And I will say this: Mike is great at stalking, and he will I jokingly said Jamie Foxx, and he actually got an email back from Jamie Foxx's team politely declining. So he will go. So
I don't mind.
He'll do it.
If you don't ask the Speaker of the House of Commons to be on your podcast, the Speaker of the House of Commons isn't going to be on your podcast. You have to ask. And I know that he's not the most popular person in the world to many, but he was a fun guest. If you remember, we had him on about a year or so ago.
Rudy's saying Arseblog and Amy Lawrence. Amy is scheduled to come on in October?
Amy, we're working out a date in October surrounding her book release. She also, by the way, Rudy has agreed to sign copies of her book. There were 3 available. Now there's 1.
Why would I want Rudy to sign Amy Lawrence's book?
Because then it becomes very valuable. But she will be signing the book, and you can get that on GoonerAuction.com.
And Rudy, Andrew over at Arseblog has a restraining order against Mike.
He's been on with us twice, and we spent most of the summer touring around the USA in his adjacency. And he now has a restraining order, so I'm not sure we'll be seeing him again. But obviously, last week we did have his.
He'll come on. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, I'm exaggerating the amount of disdain that he has for us. At least I'm hoping that that's the case.
Nah, he loves us.
Becca says Gunnersaurus, and believe it or not, I had thought about that the last couple of days, trying to ask the club, if we can get somebody who the person in the Gunnersaurus suit. That would be the best podcast of all time. So I didn't quite have a dream about it last night, Becca, but I did think about it within the past 24 hours.
We should get the guy that created Gunnersaurus in the contest.
Oh yeah, that's true. We're trying to be out of the box here. We don't want to be every podcast that just talks about the game all the time in just complete and utter depth. And we know what's going on. We're all supporters of the club. We like to talk about it. We're going to give our takes, but we also like to make it about the guests and find interesting new people to come on with us. So your suggestions are appreciated. Thunder says Emmanuel Frimpong. I would love to have Frimmy join us. I know he did an interview recently. We have reached out to him, haven't heard back from him yet, so I'm not sure that's going to happen. But that's the type of person that we would love to have on the podcast. game is kind of slowed down a little bit as far as chances are concerned. 75th minute.
Oh,
To the Arsenal.
that's just the type of play we don't want, Pepe.
Where are you guys at time-wise?
I'm at
07.
5:08.
All right.
We're linked up.
Oh, no.
Your synergy is being replaced, Mike. It's me and Andy.
Mike, where are you? Are you still ahead of us?
Yeah, I'm 3 seconds ahead.
Oh, okay.
Like 33, 34.
Yeah.
All right. That's not terrible.
Alfie Allen.
That'd be awesome. Even though Reek is an awful character, but also a weirdly redemptive one.
Do you guys get on with the Arsenal Vision, guys? Yeah, I don't see. That's Elliot, right?
Yeah, Elliot, we've had on the podcast. Get along with him just fine.
Uh-oh.
I don't know personally. I've never really communicated too much with the other guys. Who was it? Clive and a little overhead kick action there. Not accurate at all. Clive. We have talked to Tim Stillman, who appears on that podcast a lot, and he'll be on with us. It's just a matter of kind of coordinating when works for us and when works for him. Again, just want to get a variety of people. But, yeah, we have no beef with those guys. We actually were the second best podcast in the world, football-wise, 2 years ago to their first place. They nipped us for that one. They probably completely slaughtered us. But yeah, we get along with them just fine.
Yikes.
You feel that this is a game that's going to end 1-0? Like, do you see the last 15 minutes just kind of getting squeezed out of this one, or do you think there's another goal? Like
It really does feel like there's like another kind of like lightning-y, potentially sloppy goal in the game.
When it was 2-1 Watford, I said to Mark, who was sitting next to me in Columbia, Missouri, watching the game, I said, there is at least one more goal in this one. It almost happened right there.
That's such a tough ball to hit from Saka.
Especially
it's great keeping by Trapp just to come off the line.
Trapp is such a good keeper. I mean, this Frankfurt team is solid, even with all their losses.
Yeah, this is a good question. Thunder Road. Any idea what happened in the Gooner Ramble pod? Nothing since summer. We actually do have an idea because one of the guys, you said Clive's old pod that has a keel and some other. The some other that you're talking about, I believe, is Rick Hicks, who's a very good friend of ours. He's in our WhatsApp group, and he's an American from St. Louis.
Ooh.
He used to edit the podcast.
78th minute, and Aubameyang's still on.
Yeah, that does surprise me a little bit. But yeah, the Gooner Ramble, it's gone through some changes a little bit because a certain fella that used to be on that podcast is just an idiot. And I think they kicked him off that. Did you know that they kicked Waz off of that podcast?
I didn't, and I'm not surprised, but Akil's kind of an idiot too. So
yeah, I don't mind Akil. I like him. I met him during a AST meeting a couple years ago when Lee Dixon was talking. But yeah, I don't think that they're that active anymore. But we can ask Rick. Rick's a very good guy. We like him a lot, and I hope they have him on.
I didn't know Rick was part of that setup.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
There we go.
He was behind the scenes, and then he became in front of the scenes, or in the scenes. By the way, who is? It's a Game of Thrones thing.
We have a red card.
Whoa! What?
Well, I missed that completely because I was
Second
looking at
yellow for Core, and he's just punched the referee in the face.
Oh, stop. Punch the referee. Why is he bending him over?
Thunder Road Waz is probably the biggest cunt on Twitter.
Jeez.
He is.
Yeah. I don't know what he's up to lately because I think we blocked each other. But
see on the other side.
I don't know him at all.
Medication has been taken.
This is also a good time to remind people if they're watching on YouTube and are willing to take a couple minutes to make a Twitch account to do so.
You find us on Facebook.com/the Gooners pod.
Kolasinac has been taken off. He looks like he's limping. Mainsley is now on.
All right.
Playing left back now?
Looks like he might be playing left back. Frankfurt are down to 10 men after Core punched the referee in the willy ball bags.
Now, does that mean he'll miss the next game, but it won't be the one against us?
That also means that Aubameyang's playing 90 today. So,
Becca, come to Colorado with some of your delicious. Now I'm taking drugs. I can't think of the follow-up to this.
Just leave it there.
Yeah.
Creepy AF.
Games. Some of your delicious treats.
Oh, Ceballos is on. I missed that.
Mike Ceballos has been on for about 20 minutes, and I'm the one who's high.
Yeah, I missed that. It probably happened while I was in fact, I think it did happen while I was taking a whiz.
Sure, Becca, we can call it cookies.
Is that what the kids are calling it these days? So this is interesting. Yeah, I did hear that. Roz had his Twitter account suspended and now has a different Twitter account from which I'm not blocked. I was wondering why I was seeing tweets from that guy. Well, that explains it.
Why did he get suspended? Oh, because he's a cunt?
Yeah, well.
I think I'm going to have to change our setting on Twitch to explicit content.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't.
I don't know what the parameters for that are, but it might be a necessity.
I mean, as soon as they look at me, like visually, they're like, "Wow, this is going to be explicit. This is going to be extremely sexual."
Also, is Wizard King perchance a reference to Black Clover or no? For the Wizard King on Twitch.
I don't know.
What did I say?
I'm not a complete nerd.
I don't know what the "Oh my God, Andy" is in reference to.
I know.
Oh, Wizard King is it's North State.
Just like Magic.
Yep.
That makes more sense too.
From South Park, which is another reason why I don't know about it. That's something I never got into. Although we did have a meal at. This is an open. Good first time cross. Aubameyang
with the.
That would've been-
Aubameyang out,
Here's the
and of course now they're counterattacking with the quickness.
Look at Chambers hauling back though. He looks like he's moving in slow motion, but and there's the
Chambers just messing up fools.
He was moving kind of quick, but he runs so strangely.
Chambers is not as slow as people think he is.
Yeah, I mean he just like lumbers, you know.
He also is a fan of pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, he is actually. We do know this from speaking to him.
Yeah,
he's one of the pack of Arsenal employees who answered the question.
This is basically what happened in Denver. They, because they train after the match. They had said to the group of us waiting for interviews, like, hey, who do you want to talk to? And we'll have them come out or whatever. And essentially got so late, Chambers came out, had a quick conversation, and then all the players needed to obviously get on the bus to go back to LA. So Mike just kept yelling as they walked past, pineapple on pizza? Yeah? No? And then
most of them just shot back looks, but Chambers said, yeah, why not?
Why not?
Freddie turned back and with a smile and a wink said, I don't eat pizza, and then kind of gave a look at my body. Which was pretty
I feel like mine is 80 too.
Yeah, Freddie said he doesn't eat pizza. Didn't Unai start to answer the question a little bit?
Unai started to answer, but then I think he got lost in translation a little bit, and then he just got on the bus.
He's like, I don't have to finish this.
Oh, no.
This was after the Denver.
I said, this guy's going to end up ruining
Rapids match.
This was right after the game in Denver.
That way,
we're still at that point an hour fresh of having interviewed Josh Kroenke in a world exclusive. So, needless to say, none of our questions were really prepared for the. Oh! There we go.
This
Now
kid
it's
is serious. This kid is something serious.
He is.
a laser, and that's a big goal because this is a two-legged affair. No, I'm just kidding. I know that it's not.
I mean, that's a big. I mean, considering, I think that this like a 2-0 win here in what is kind of indisputably our toughest fixture in the group stage for Europa is huge because I feel like it kind of opens the door for us to go really youth heavy from here on out.
It does. And the fact that we're winning 2-0 away as well. I mean, great.
And how did that come? It came from playing out from the back.
Quickly from out the back. Oh, it's a beautiful goal.
They gave him all kinds of time and space, but
because I mean that's like what Pepe brings though. Like
it was
the quarterback closes down there, takes that step inside, and it makes that recovery so tough. Now, I mean, Saka just is so confident. Whenever he's on the ball, it just feels like something dangerous is going to happen.
He's got to have a PA of 200 in FM20.
I'm so excited. T-minus basically a month until the beta comes out.
I know.
Might have some Twitch streaming there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Maybe you guys can Twitch stream your fantasy.
Maybe we should Twitch some grown men in spandex, lube and oil, rubbing themselves all over each other.
This is what he fantasizes about.
Wait, what? I'm so confused about what that was even a reference.
That was a WWE reference.
Oh! That makes a little more sense. And is also, I don't know. I mean, I guess. This
is the litmus test of whether you're staying on the podcast or not. Are you pro or against being amused and entertained by not being this is a jailbreak now.
That outside foot was just oh my goodness.
Goal Aubameyang.
How casual was this for Saka? That little outside foot.
That was the kind of you give up a goal like that, not score a goal like that. The away supporters look to be in rapture.
Oh.
Well, let's go back to this. So I think it was Saka who outside of the foot passes to Aubameyang. Someone's lost a shoe. And,
Torreira's bootless.
So Saka, he's actually started that. Torreira's nice little fight. Could be a handball shout there. Loses his shoe. Saka keeps up with it.
Oh, Saka made that
so clean.
Aubameyang slots home. I would have given that to Pepe if I was Aubameyang.
I feel like he's missed a couple of chances that were did that Meg trap? Yep. That was actually kind of tough. But I feel like he's had a couple of chances that were he felt like he should have finished and you could see the frustration. So might be good for him to grab that one. It's tough as a striker when you're scoring and your team's not winning, I mean,
I will say this. I'm angry at Becker right now because I just have the Sharing is Caring song stuck in my head because nursery rhymes are a big part of my life right now, and it's just in there stuck.
That should be your motto. Nursing rhymes are a big part of my life right now. What's this right now stuff? Yeah, Saka. Let's start talking here with
call for Rudy.
9th minute about your man of the match at this point. This one's done and dusted. Are we looking at Saka as the man of the match? I mean,
where else are you going?
It was kind of maybe a little bit of a slow start where he wasn't really that much in the action from the beginning. But I mean, this second half has been all Saka. Willock, I think, could be a shout.
I think that's the only. I mean, that kind of gets to what we were talking about earlier with like ESR not necessarily being as involved as we might have liked to see. But like that first half makes it so hard for people playing on the wings to
that cross from Saka.
But like, I mean, Saka literally dominated the whole half of the pitch. I mean, he looks really good.
That was the clincher right there. I mean, I think we're looking at Bukayo or Bayaku. Is it Bukayo or Bayaku?
Bukaki.
The drugs have officially kicked in. Yeah, it's Bukayo Saka. And
we should make a phonetic pronunciation video of all the players on. on the squad.
Well, that's what I'm going to be doing with the. I believe I may end up winning the Gooner auction prize of make Lee judges announce your starting 11. And I
Like
might
your 11, as in you get to make up a starting 11.
Yeah, I'm going to make up a starting 11 for him to announce, and they will be the hardest to pronounce because he cannot pronounce.
Oh yeah, I've heard it.
Names unless it's like Birdie Me, I think he could pronounce, but other anything or Ben Me, he could pronounce almost a fourth.
Oh!
But Osaka, I don't think if he can't say Torreira, he's not going to be able to say Bukayo Saka, so that'll be fun.
I also like the amount of mispronunciations of Torreira just blow my mind.
Torreira.
That's the one I hear all the time.
But it's interesting because if you listen to the Arsenal player cast, they don't say Aubameyang, they say Aubameyang.
Well, that's true. I mean, it's kind of interesting, especially, I don't know, I feel like it'd be really nice to be able to have kind of a breakdown of how everybody wants their names pronounced. Like that's like a big thing generally in American sports broadcasting. It's hilarious, but like you listen to NBC Sports in the US, or like I'll be like watching Sky streams back, and it is just bonkers how butchered these names get. And it's really not that hard. Like just take the time to learn the name. It's your job.
Yeah, punk. Take the time, god damn it.
You guys ready for the Rugby World Cup on Friday?
I literally didn't even know that was happening, but rugby's weirdly entertaining, so I'll probably tune in.
It's, England are second favorites to win, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Behind All Blacks still?
Yeah.
Is it coming home?
The All Blacks had a tough couple last matches. I keep up with it, and so it'll be interesting. I think
Soccer's starting to get cheeky. the little one touches.
You got to love the confidence because I mean now Saka, if he's able to like be introduced to the league squad, I mean like that's where I feel like we've been lacking the most is like having an actual natural left winger. But that's what I'm saying. Like let's say Lacazette is healthy. Saka, does he take Aubameyang's spot? Does he take Reece Nelson's spot? Does he take? I mean, it's interesting. I love to see these kind of performances in midweek because we're just not going to see these guys in the Premier League squad soon because there's no spot for them.
Ceballos is so smooth. Yeah, I mean I think there is a spot for Saka though because we've been playing people. If you look at who we've been playing on the left wing, it's either Aubameyang or Laka in that weird kind of.
I say we probably breaks. It's one match. We let him embed into this Europa League and Carling Cup squad. Looks like the match is over with a 3-0 win to the Arsenal.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
I think this is exactly what we needed. So let's break it down, Mike. I mean, what are your thoughts on the match? How do you think we played? Considering this is going, like B said, this is probably our toughest game of the group, and we just won 3-0 with ultimately kids.
It had the potential to be an absolute disaster. It had the potential to continue the narrative about. I mean, it's just gotten really out of control, and I understand why. After the Watford game, I felt that way. Emery needed this to be a strong performance, and you can't get much stronger than 3-0. Were there moments in the game where it wasn't looking so solid, especially in the first 30, 35 minutes? Sure. And the statistics from the game, shots allowed, all that, are not going to look pretty. But this gives the team the confidence of going into Sunday, which is another game that we should win. I'm not going to call it an easy game against Aston Villa, but, I mean, home against a promoted side, we should be able to win. They're a massively improved squad with all the stuff that they did over the summer, but this gives you confidence. A clean sheet, I think, here was probably the most important part, and it's as much to do with Frankfurt's sloppiness in front of goal that it is about our defense. But no real problems with the game. I think it's good, and if we follow this up with a win on Sunday, all of this Emery out stuff will be for a while.
B, we we were on the ropes in the second half for probably a good 15 minutes, whereas we were against Watford, and we turned it around. So there's an improvement there, at least.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the substitutions that were made in the second half, and like being able to bring on Ceballos and Pepe is a really nice ace to have in the hole, essentially. But like once I feel like I am as high on Ceballos as I think anybody is right now, and I think
you as high on Ceballos as Andy is on
he's on the dance right now. He's just got the bars going. But I don't like I think the kind of calmness that he's able to bring into the midfield and being somebody who can actually possess the ball and it like constantly has his head up and can take people on, but is not looking to just be giving the ball away all the time. It brings a level of certainty to the midfield that we don't seem to have when he's not on the pitch. Mm. And I think obviously playing up a man is going to kind of change how effective we are in trying to like get forward, which you saw, and Saka ended up with way more space and made the most out of it. But I do feel pretty positive coming out of this. I mean, I feel like I'm generally pretty optimistic compared to a lot of the fan base, but I think coming into the Villa game, which is a weirdly important game, we now have that positive momentum, and to have that after the Watford performance is all we really could have asked for coming out of this like midweek Europa tie, you know.
And we see Standard Liège won their match 2-0. So I think they'll be Frankfurt's probably going to be the team that comes in second, but I wouldn't lay down on Liège. What match are you guys going to be watching at 1 o'clock?
Ooh, let me take a look.
I think I'm going to put the Wolves match on.
Yeah, probably. I didn't even think about that, but either that or I might go back to work because I do have a day job.
I'm on vacation, bitch.
Yeah, so what we got? We got the 3 o'clock games. We got Partizan against AZ, Wolves hosting Sporting Braga.
Celtic Rennes might be the look.
Oh, and United hosting Astana. If they don't win that, I mean, if they struggle in that game, watch for the knives to come out. I'm going to
watch the Wolves game.
I might switch between the Wolves and United game just to see and follow the one where the team is doing worse. Wolves are in trouble. As talented as they are, they're suffering the same thing that Burnley did last season. When you're a mid-table team who has a good stretch of play and you finish 7th and you're in Europe the following year, your league campaign starts to suffer, and we're seeing it already for them. So any last words from anybody before we head off? It's been a long experimental podcast. We thank you guys for joining us in the chat. Don't forget to go to GoonerAuction.com and bid on some stuff that is at great prices and support the cause. We're going to have a final number next week for how we did for Gooners versus Cancer, and I'm excited to see what it's going to be.
Yeah, keep giving what you can give, guys, and thanks for joining us today. That was fun.
All right, man. Thank you, B. Thank you, Andy. And we'll probably I think we're going to be on live Monday night to talk about the Aston Villa game. We'll give some more details about that later. Take care.
See ya.
You Gooners.